Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie and today I am here to do my April wrap-up. So the month of April was a pretty good reading month despite being very busy outside my reading life with work and school. I managed to read 7 books this month, and for the most part I enjoyed every single one of them, and without further ado, let's just jump right in. As usual, I'm going to start off with some quick statistics for you guys. So, like I said, I read a total of 7 books this month. 2 of those books were on audio, 1 of them was on ebook, and the rest were physical books. Out of those books, again, I read 3 book club books. 1 of them was an ARC, and the rest were just for fun. And then my ratings this month ranged from a 2-star to a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So overall my ratings were kind of all over the place, but they were mostly positive. So now let's jump right into the first book I read this month was Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. I actually had started this back in March for March Mystery Madness, and I never got around to finishing it, but I ended up loving this book when I finally finished it. This is a YA historical thriller that takes place in Victorian London. It follows the main character Audrey Rose, who is studying under her uncle, who is a mortician, as an apprentice, and she becomes obsessed with Jack the Ripper, who is a very famous serial killer, and she pretty much just stalks him to try to figure out who he actually is. This is a very interesting book. It also has some really cool pictures. Let me find an example for you guys at the beginning of each chapter, like this one right here. So it's actually a really cool book. You get to learn more about forensics and, serial killers, which is something I've been interested in for quite a few years now. I think the story was really great. There was a great romance involved, and I ended up giving this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I cannot wait to continue on with the next one I read was actually on audio, and that is Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Reese Brennan, Maureen Johnson, and Robin Wasserman. And this is narrated on audio by 10 different narrators. We'll go ahead and read them off for you guys, and I'm probably going to say like half of these wrong, so I apologize in advance. The first one is Evan Bostick, Jack Falahy, Luke Pascalino, Mick Marigello. I'm probably saying half of these wrong. I'm so sorry. Chris Wood, Kai Hong Lee, Terrence Combs, Sam Hewen, Kehu Kohani, and Brett Dalton. And this is a collection of novellas that follows our character Simon, who is Clary's best friend in the original Mortal Instruments series, and he is going through his experience at the Shadowhunter Academy as he trains to be a Shadowhunter. You have to read this right after you read the last book of the Mortal Instruments series, and right before you read the Dark Artifices trilogy. So I was pretty excited to dive into this, and overall it was a pretty good collection of novellas. I had some problems with the first 8 or so stories, but the last 2 were very good. I ended up giving this a 3 out of 5 stars. It was originally a 4-star read, but I deducted it down to 3 after thinking about it for a few days, but I still recommend it. I think it's great. The next one I read this month was an ARC I got from the publisher HMH, who I am working with to bring you guys this book, and that is Brightly Burning by Alexa Doan. This is a book that comes out on May 1st. This is a YA retelling of Jane Eyre set in space. That's pretty much all you need to know. It is a really great retelling. I read the original Jane Eyre story in March, and no, I was not a huge fan of it. I was pretty excited to read a retelling, and I think this was a fantastic retelling. Alexa Doan is actually a YouTuber. I'll link her channel down below. And she was able to capture the essence of the original Jane Eyre story so well, but also put her own spin on it. This retelling actually follows the original story very well. There's a lot of references in a way to the original story, and it just captures that feeling that I had been missing from the original Jane Eyre story very well. So I am giving this a 4 out of 5 stars, and I highly recommend you guys pick this up on May 1st. The next one I read was from our friend Lisa over Books and Smiles' book club, and that is The Secret Mother by Solani Boland. This is another psychological thriller. This follows a young woman who comes home from work one day, and there is a child in her kitchen who claims to be her son, but she has no children. This one was very interesting. It is definitely one that messes with your mind in a very good way. It definitely kept me interested throughout the entire thing, and though it was slow at times, I think it definitely picked up towards the middle and the end, so I ended up giving that a 4 out of 5 stars. The next one was Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. This was the Peruse Utopia book club book of the month for the month of April, and this is a YA contemporary novel that follows our main characters, both It's Penny and Sam. Penny is an aspiring writer. She is going to the University of Texas in Austin to become a writer, and she pretty much has her entire life planned out. We will also follow Sam, who is not in the best place. He is struggling with major depression. He is pretty much homeless. His ex-girlfriend broke up with him, and there's just a lot of stuff going on in his life that makes him not in the best place. And these two meet in a very awkward way, and they end up exchanging numbers and becoming each other's emergency contact via text. This one was a disappointment for me. I did not like this book at all. I think this was a good debut novel. I really like Mary H.K. Choi's writing style, but her story and her plot line were just kind of meh. I couldn't connect to the characters, and though there was great representation of the Asian culture, as the main character Penny is half Korean and the author is Chinese, that was pretty much the only aspect I enjoyed about this book, was the representation. It was just kind of meh. And I think I will pick up future books by this author, but I ended up giving this a 2 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was from my book club, which is chapter by chapter. The link to that is down below, and that is Carrie by Stephen King. This is one that I'm kind of making a project of Stephen King's work, so I'm trying to read every one of his books every single month. I have read 3 so far. I've read Mr. Mercedes, The Shining, and now Carrie. Carrie was his first published work, and this came out in 1979, I believe. This is a adult psychological thriller. I'm pretty sure a lot of you might be familiar with the original story from the movies. This is following a young teenager who has been bullied, and she has telekinetic powers. It's interesting. I ended up listening to this one on audio as well, and this is narrated by Sissy Spacek, who is the original actress who played Carrie in the very first movie. And overall, I really liked the story. I think it was very good, and you definitely have seen, as you read more of Stephen King's work, you definitely see his writing style develop, which was great. The narration was my only problem with this book, and that's because Sissy Spacek, again, is the original actress who played Carrie, and she has a southern accent, and this book takes place in Maine. So I wanted somebody who maybe was from Maine or New England in general. They didn't necessarily have to have a Bostonian accent. I would just rather have seen someone who from the area narrated. Does that make any sense? I hope that does. I don't think the southern accent was perfect for this book, and though she did a good job bringing the character of Carrie to life, like I said, she wasn't good, just wasn't a perfect match for this book. But overall, again, I enjoyed the rest of the story, and I gave it 4 stars. And the last book I read this month was The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This was my TBR jar pick for the month of April, and it was also on my top 6 books I want to read in 2018 video, which I'll have linked on the screen. And this one was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed this. This is another YA contemporary novel. It follows our main character Star, who witnesses the murder of her best friend Khalil at the hands of a white police officer, and this is inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement. This is a really good book for anybody who wants like an inside look into the lives of the people involved in the Black Lives Matter movement. It's very interesting. I really enjoyed this book. There was just a couple things that bothered me. There was definitely some stereotypes used against not only black people, but also against white people. And also, I felt like there was something missing from the story that maybe not connected with the characters as much as I wanted to. The stereotypes eventually faded out, and that didn't really bother me as much towards the end of the book. But again, there was just something missing in my opinion that prevented me from giving this 5 stars. But overall, I think it's a very important read. I highly recommend it, and I gave it a 4. That is everything I read this month, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to give a big thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already. I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Be sure to let me know in the comments down below what you read this month, as I would love to know. And all my social media links will be linked down in the description box as always. And with all that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you soon for another video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye!